You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
My name is Castian Saya. Taken as a child, trained as a youngling, sold as a slave and saved by the Empire. I am tired of others defining my life for me. So I shall take my destiny into my own hands.
The Fandible Solo Shot is a two-person actual play audio drama using Fantasy Flight Games' Star Wars Force and Destiny system. Set in the waning years of the Empire's stranglehold on the galaxy, follow Imperial Inquisitor Castian Saya as he seeks a greater understanding of the Force. The saga continues, new episodes every Thursday. Search for Fandible Solo Shot on your favorite podcast platform or learn more at fandible.com.
And may the Force be with you.
Hello everybody, Adam here. I am the GM for the Coldfire Chronicles. This is Chapter 2, Episode 12. I am joined round the table by...
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his anger.
My name is Ed Fortune. I play the character of Oberon Brick. He is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is justice, and his emotional weakness is cruelty.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I'm playing Jiren, a Chiss mystic advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm playing Lassa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her emotional weakness is her obsession.
Okay, and before we get into the episode proper, do we have a question from our characters?
Yeah, while we were relaxing on the ship as we were plodding along to our next mission, Lassa's always wanted to know, hey, Jiren.
Hello?
You move around a bit, you're a bit of a flashy person. You got much family? You got wife somewhere? You got kids somewhere?
I do not have a wife, no, but I have 17 children.
17 children?
Oh, yeah. I was on Rylea, and the largest city there, I had very little to do for about 3 years. I was not... I was not in prison. No, they're not my... we had a gang. We had a pickpocket group. We did, which I made sure the children were okay. So we had 17 of us all together to make sure we were safe. And they are my children. I hope they did well. We may bump into them. They spread across the galaxy. Who knows?
I'm sure it would be very interesting meeting a load of people who grew up with you as their role model.
No, they were much better than I was. I'm very proud of them.
All right. Wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I figured you might have been a bit of a loner or a bit of a, person in every part, but fair enough.
There you go.
We rejoin our heroes in the gutted bowels of the Coster Thibaren. Lassa has just about managed to get gravity, life support, and what lights there are on. The strange, horrific, animated, mobile corpses that assaulted our heroes as they came in have been dispatched. They are presently in what was the cargo bay. It has been gutted and torn open between the two floors. Most of the panelling has been taken from the walls and an awful lot of the cabling has been removed. The gravity, while it's on, is twitchy, I think is the best way to describe it, and isn't a full gravity. It's about 0.8 or thereabouts of a gravity, so it's holding you down there, but it's twitchy. Whether or not that's because the gravity generating tech that lives in the floor has been damaged or removed, whether that's because that's just what the ship is set to, it's not quite clear. Lassa, you're at the moment at a computer screen having switched all these systems back on, and there's a few things that you can pick out from the various diagnostics that you've got up here. The first is there are a significant number of warning lights showing where an awful lot of integral, vital systems to the running of the ship have been damaged or destroyed or removed. They are flashing up with so many conflicting warnings messages that you can't quite work out what's happened to them. It is clear there is a power plant because there is some power still on in this place, but there are warning signs from the power plant that suggest it's not where it should be. If you see what I mean, there is power because you've turned it on, but where the power plant normally appears on like the system diagnostics and the damage report, it is showing as missing. the comms system is completely blocked off to you. That is massively encrypted. You had a chance to poke around a little bit in there as you were slicing in to get the life support system on. You've not had a chance to properly feel around the edges, if you get me, but there is clearly additional layers of encryption on the comms system. And while the life support is running, it is not generating any more air than is presently contained within the vessel. So while there is air on here, it is stale and it isn't being replenished. The carbon dioxide scrubbers are either missing or not working or have been removed. So what air you have on here is a limited supply, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Is there a rough estimate on the time for that, given 4 breathing?
Yeah, giving 4 breathers. Knowing that any kind of real strenuous activity will increase the rate of oxygen depletion just by the nature of the beast. If you're all calm and collected and no stress comes and no conflict and you take your time, you've probably got about 2.5 hours worth of air.
I hate to break it to you folks, but I think we've got about 1.5 hours worth of air left.
Okay, I have a breathing mask, but only one. Does anybody else have one as well as their AV suits?
I have a breath mask.
Right, that might keep you going for a while, but you won't do well outside.
No.
I think we might be best off trying to look in the other ships. Maybe we could link all the oxygen relays so that they're all pumping whatever oxygen they might have left into the bigger ship.
Once we've made this place safe, I think what we need to do is detach the ship on the top, or find a way of linking Coldfire's Mercy to this, so we can move everything across, maybe get out without having to walk back across the open asteroid.
Also, while we're chatting, I have a slight suspicion that Mr. Flesh could possibly be hearing us or listening to us, because with the voiceover that we recently heard, they seemed to know that their minions, their little metal puppets, flesh puppets, metal and flesh puppets, those things didn't get us. What was that thing he said? Try harder? I don't think he's talking to us. I think they're sending more.
Okay, I think that whatever it is either also dead, a droid, or the ship itself. I spoke across the comlink, tried to make it open the door. Nothing happened. I don't think I can affect it.
All right.
So I don't think we're going to be leaving this ship intact. Or at least, I don't think we're going to be taking this ship.
We might want to find out what the thing is and then end it.
I certainly want to go all the way through this ship and get what we came for.
Yes.
But let's assume we're being listened to.
Mr. Flesh.
Okay, what we need to do is work out if there's anything of value in here and then move on.
Well, this place looks gutted to me. Lassa points around at the destroyed boxes and the gangway that should have been there that's ripped out.
Go over to the droid parts boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything of any sort of interest?
The droid part boxes have been emptied. And from looking around at because they had like manifest printed on them, what was in these droid spares boxes seemed to be actuator motors, droid brains, comlinks, that sort of thing.
The bits that are scattered around in with the desiccated corpses, are they things like actuator motors, droid brains, comlinks?
Yeah. And looking at those bodies now that there's a bit of light, one of them is dressed in, again, tattered. I emphasise that all the clothing and the gear they're wearing is hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
But this one, for example, has something that was clearly made to last. It appears to be long, brown, hooded robes.
Okay.
I mean, shredded badly, but long, brown, hooded robes that the motors have been bolted to the outside of and drilled into the limbs.
Oh, that poor bugger got killed coming out the bath. Look at that.
Shall we check these poor souls?
Go through the bodies and see if there's anything.
2 of the bodies are male Zabrak.
Yeah.
One of them has just enough withered, mummified flesh on his face that you can see he was probably a deep red colour with black, blocky tattoos on. One of them was clearly a female as well, not as a Zabrak, because there's no horns, but other than that, a humanoid or human adjacent species. That's about the best you can do, really, from the mummification. One of the other ones, the one that first was shot in part by Oberon, looks like there may have been a Weequay.
Okay. Given now we've seen that there are a fair few Zabak on here, and there's quite clearly like a Jedi there as well, can I do a lore test to see if I can connect the Dathomirian cult with the Zabak?
It's obscure enough that I think I'm going to make the difficulty 3.
Okay. So that's 2 yellow, 1 green, and 3 purple. That is 1 success, but 2 threat.
Okay. The successes, the 2 Zabrak and the female corpse has enough tells left that this is a Night Sister and the other 2 are Night Brothers. You can work that out. The one in Rose was a Jedi, absolutely was a Jedi, missing his lightsaber.
Yeah.
The other 2, the weak way has nothing that might lead you to either way, and the last one is, again, a near human.
It's a weak way. It's a space pirate. I might be a little bit racist on that respect, but, you know. Okay, I don't know much about this Dathomirian cult, because they don't exist anymore, but I'm fairly sure there's a lot of Zabrak in them, and it's something to do with the night, but I'm not entirely sure, but these 2 here are from the cult. That's a Jedi, and he looks like the space pirate.
Do you think these were Force users?
I think he was. I point towards the Jedi, and I think possibly they were.
You ever heard of a Force-using space pirate?
Well, you know, one and only. But I'm not sure if he is, but there must be a reason why he raided the temple. Let's not assume, but I think possibly most of them. He's missing his lightsaber. He wouldn't be here without it.
You think if he had it, he wouldn't be here in the first place?
Look around the walls. Is there any sort of indication of a battle with a lightsaber? They tend to be messy.
Yes, there is.
Is he up there and there? Looks like he died with it on, and it's been taken.
Mr. Flesh, maybe?
I think so.
Well, that's a horrible thing we'll have to deal with later.
Pretty much now.
Yeah.
Oh, incidentally, while Jiren was talking, he had his hands on his collar exactly the same way that he thought was a scholarly way from previously when he was being Jason the Scholar.
Agatha's not noticing because he's brushing blood off his visor and he's getting a stim pack out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do we have any way of sealing that suit?
That would be nice too.
I can have a look. My word. I mean, you'd probably be better off tying that up in a circle and then trying to catch fish with it. It's basically a net now. Look at the amount of holes in it.
Are you okay?
That was difficult.
I felt it. There's a lot of rage.
That was very difficult.
Jiren gives Agatha a hug. It's super awkward. Just super awkward.
And also quite bleedy.
Yeah, he gets quite a bit of stains on his coat, which he's wearing over the outside of his... he steps back.
Oberon observes this display of emotion and gives Agatha a stim pack.
Agatha accepts the stim pack.
I think you might need to use that.
Agatha will use it at the moment he's free from this grip, but...
Use it now before we go through any doors.
So there are 2 doors on this level. There is one that leads deeper into the front of the ship. There is one that leads back towards the back of the ship, and then through the big old hole where the second level would be, there's probably at least one more door up there to the upper deck. It kind of depends on where you want to go.
So knowing where the ship's attached, are they forwards or back?
The Star Sprite is back.
Yes.
The Pathfinder is about straight up.
Yeah.
But the lights up that high aren't great, so it could be lost in the ceiling panels and the gaps where the ceiling panels are, because quite a lot of the ceiling panels have been taken, and that's where the lights are, which is why it's so dark on the top deck. I mean, if you want to, I suppose you can aim your torches up when you know roughly where you're looking for, and you can see that above you, right in the top, there is the sealed hatch, where the fangs of the docking umbilicus have punched through the plating of the ship and then opened up as an airlock. You can kind of see where that is, but it's going to be hard to get to with gravity on, because it's directly up. I mean, Agatha might be able to force leap up, maybe, but the rest of you, without a grapple gun or turning gravity off, are going to struggle.
Okay.
Can I suggest we take a look at the back first?
Yes, that seems like a good idea.
Right, I'd like to grab one of the comms from one of the corpses to have a fiddle and see if there's a way of
They are
feeding back.
wired directly into its skull.
Ooh.
Kind of looking closer, they've got like a bit of a flip-top head that's then been riveted back on, and the comlink is riveted and screwed into the skull, so it's not easily accessible. You can see the antenna coming out through a hole that's been bored on, and a bit of the comlink kind of where some of the skull's been removed, but it's in the skull.
Okay.
It's not like detachable like you have, it's part of it.
So she goes to rip out an antenna, feels the whole skull yank and goes, that's disgusting.
So we move towards the back of the ship and to the door that should connect us to where the Jedi Sprite is.
Just going to emphasise while we're doing that, Agatha has used the stim pack, has taken the gloves off his environment suit, is now wearing his shot golf gloves.
Cool.
Okay. The door that leads to the back compartment is what would lead into the main power plant and the engine section and the engine controls. And it is presently closed. If you're going to press the button to open it, there is power going to that.
Are we ready?
Everybody prepare to shoot or hit or smash whatever is behind these doors if it ain't one kind of like us.
Okay.
Cover the door.
I'll stand at the front and I'll press the button.
Even Lassa gets her little pistol out and is like, right.
The doors very, very slowly and jerkily shake open, revealing an empty space where the power plant and the engine controls were before they were reasonably crudely removed. This is desecration, Lassa, of the highest order, and you can see that where the Star Sprite has docked and come in, that's in one of the spaces that would otherwise be empty. You know, there would not otherwise be any of these engine parts there, so you can see where, the docking clamp is open, and again there's that kind of hatch that leads into the Star Sprite. But yeah, all of the engines and the control systems, even where you'd have like the mechanic's deck chair and hammock, and because it's not too dissimilar to your own engine room in that this is where the heart of the ship is. It has been gutted. The lights in here are all intact. In fact, in some places they've been magnified slightly, and you can see scrape marks along the ground leading to the main kind of cargo bay where you've come from, where these heavy pieces of engineering and equipment have been dragged out of here. And looking at it, again, I'm not going to make you roll for this one, you can see at which point the gravity's been turned off, because it looks like they turned off the gravity to the cargo room and then dragged these out of here, and then eventually all the gravity's gone, but it was switched off in stages so something could remove the heart of the ship.
Well, this isn't a ship anymore. This is just a hunk of metal with some corpses in it.
This is not going to fly again.
If there's no engine, what's powering what we have?
Oh, the engine's here. It's just at the front of the ship.
Okay.
That would make sense.
It's probably keeping what, as we've charmingly decided to call it, Mr. Flesh, in its state of existence.
First impressions do tend to make good ones, so I guess we gotta go find the other, unless we want to check the other ship first.
Well, the entrance to the Star Sprite is just there.
Let's go and have a look. I mean, it's probable it's gutted as well, but...
I would love to see inside the Jedi ship.
Alright, let's go see if we can have a look in it, but could someone keep an eye on the doors behind us? Because if the lights have been magnified in here, I don't know if it was just for taking stuff out, or whether this is Boxo death waiting for people like us.
I'm happy to go first unless Jiren wants to.
I think if there's something in there, you shouldn't go first, because you've got a big long gun that you can't fight with. I think if something in there, I shouldn't go first, because I don't have any weapons. There's a quick hard cut back to Jiren's bed back on the Coldfire's Mercy, where his gun is sitting, and then it comes back to him. I'll be honest, if Agatha can just make sure there's nothing in there that will eat our faces, and then come back, and we'll have a look.
If you could do it all with as few breaths as possible, that would be ideal.
Agatha's trying to put a brave face on this, but yeah, he's going, yes, Agatha, we'll do this.
I'm slightly concerned it's a very narrow passage, and I do have a knife. Unless you want to go first, Agatha. It's up to you.
You take 5, okay? I say, putting my hand on Agatha's shoulder.
Okay.
Oberon, it's all you.
Coordination check to get through the umbilical? Or?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get through with your gun.
Okay, I will take it apart.
Okay, yeah.
Just not. You want to maybe leaving that together and leave it here?
Actually, don't take it apart. Leave it with Jiren and pull my blaster.
It seems almost unlikely that a man who seemingly is a space pirate doesn't know how to hold a rifle, but he is holding it wrong.
Wow. I have 2 blaster pistols, which I look like I know what I'm doing with them. Put them back and check my knife. And yeah, get in the...
Can you make me a coordination test, please? The difficulty is going to be... It should be 2 purple, but since I've got a stack load of dark side points, I'm going to upgrade it to a purple and a red.
Okay. That's 1 success and 1 advantage.
As you kneel down before it and then open it up, as it opens, the locking mechanism that's holding it in place appears to be locked by the power of differential pressure, as opposed to any actual locking bolts. And so as you kind of push it open, there is as air gets sucked down behind you, kind of pushing you down the tube a little bit. But you manage to catch yourself, and you can see that at the bottom it's hanging open into the Jedi ship. Fortunately, because you got a success and an advantage, I'm going to say, assuming that you're happy with this, that advantage is you've not lost any overall oxygen from the ship.
Okay.
It has just moved from one part of the ship to another part of the ship, but because that's no longer an airtight seal, it will come back in. But yeah, as you kind of lean through, yeah, the Star Sprite is depressurized until you push on this, at which point it kind of pulls you down the tube, controlled, but down the tube and into the body of the Star Sprite. The body of the Star Sprite has been gutted. The control panel has been completely removed. It's quite a small vessel. It's like a four-person vessel, one pilot, and then seats for the rest. It's not even got like a bunk as such in here. Like a very, very small refresher, a small fridge, and that's about it. Doesn't appear to have had any hyperspace capabilities. It's just a local short-range vessel. But yeah, it has been absolutely gutted in here. And from inside, you can see that what from the outside looked like an opaquing tint isn't. It's where something in here has set on fire and the smoke has completely blackened all of the glass and indeed the inside here. It looks like maybe when the control panel was removed, it caused a fire. That's also possibly why there's no air in here, because it burned until there was none left.
Almost absent-mindedly, until I realise what I'm doing, I actually draw a sad smiley face and then stop because that's inappropriate. Okay, have a look round.
There's nothing in here, really. Like, the seats are still there, at least the passenger seats, where they're still riveted in and there's still seat belts on there, clunk-click every trip. But anything that could have had any kind of actuators in it, any moving parts, any motors and electronics, they have all been taken.
There's no data slates or books or...
Nope. It is a hollow shell. Again, the power plant has been removed from here.
This has been completely looted. It's just a shell. There's been a fire. That tinted cockpit was with smoke.
Okay.
I'm going to come up now.
Yeah, come back out. Star Sprites have an external R2 unit, or astromech droid, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When we walked up...
There was nothing in this.
There was nothing in this.
No.
Okay.
Nope. And you will know from your lore roll from earlier on as well that these things tended to have like a hyperspace ring, which is how they actually jumped into... And there's no sign of the hyperspace ring.
Yeah.
But then again, that's hardly surprising given the sheer magnitude of the debris field around here.
Yeah.
Given that it's been hundreds of years, that's probably just been caught in the gravity of something and shredded.
Okay.
Alright, so there's one ship left to explore and one door left to open. I'd like to have a quick look at that comm system that's completely locked out to us.
Okay.
To see if I can break into it so either we can shut down signals coming out to us or send other signals out.
That is going to be a computer's test. Your difficulty, since this is opposed, is 2 red, 2 purple, 2 black.
Okay. I'd like to use the data spike.
Mm-hmm.
Because that worked so well last time.
Well, now I've removed Heights and Depths 3 series from it.
What?
No!
It's okay, we've saved it to the ship, we're fine.
Alright. Ooh, this is tricky, this is. Very smart, Mr. Flesh, very smart.
Don't taunt the
See
horrible
what we can
monster.
Get to you. That leaves 1 success, but 1 threat.
The success is that you can get into the encrypted channel. You can't do anything more to it, but you have got access to that now. And there is chatter going on there in an exceedingly corrupt form of binary. To the point where, because I know you speak binary, you cannot understand what it's saying, but you are aware that it is clearly giving commands to and from. The threat is that a few seconds after you've done that, over the comms comes again.
Keep your fingers from my thoughts, Flesh. I will stir my fingers in yours.
Oh, I know what we've got here.
Harvest them now.
And the door at the far side of the cargo thing starts to grind open.
Oberon, get out. Oberon.
Initiatives, please. Vigilance tests.
How far am I? Because I was heading back up.
It will take you 1 manoeuvre to get back into the ship. Basically, you're in the umbilical at the moment.
So that's 2 successes and 1 advantage for me.
3 successes.
No successes for Lassa.
I got 5 successes and 1 advantage.
So everyone's aware, the order is going to be an NPC, then you 4, then an NPC. That's the slots.
That's concerning that it got more than 5 successes.
It got a triumph.
Oh my word.
Oh.
Okay, so the lower doors, as I say, grind open, and barreling through them at remarkably high speeds. It looks like at some point this was originally a medical droid of some form. You know, the standard bipedal, slightly freaky looking medical type droids? It's now been made almost into a centaur. So its torso has been extended and hinged. It now has 3 sets of legs, all with kind of hooked claws designed to help it catch onto the grates and what bits there are on the walls. You can see that it's got a couple of very small manoeuvrable air jets, again designed to help it manoeuvre in 0G. And its upper torso, both of its arms, the hands are those multi-tooled, many-digited kind of medical tools. You know, where each finger has then split up into numerous little exhibits, scalpels and injectors and probes and that sort of thing. And it is barreling across at remarkable speeds. Moves through and impacts into the group of you in the engine, but that's all it can do. It just closes that distance at great speed and kind of clumps into the group of you that's in the engine bay. For visuals, it is engaged with everyone except Oberon at the moment, who is still coming up through the tube. Because the engine room that you're in it's bigger than it otherwise would be because all the bits have been taken out, but it's still not a huge, massive space. It's about the size of a room, and this thing is so fast. And
if Oberon comes out of the tube, is he automatically engaged?
He will be, yes.
Righto.
First play character.
I recommend that Agatha goes first.
Agatha, smash.
To be honest, there's all four of us and then them, so it doesn't really matter who goes in what order. So if you want to go first.
Yeah, Agatha is going to commit to some brawn.
Are these things causing us the same sort of fear as before?
This one is not.
Right.
I mean, it's grim, but it's still just a droid.
Yes.
I mean, it might be making those of you with... certainly Tychus and Roy would be all like, oh, my sweet baby, what have they done to you?
I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm going to have a lot of fun dissecting it.
Agatha spent the last little while trying to breathe and stay calm, so she isn't really in the mood to start screaming and trying to be fearsome against it. I mean, would like to, but is well aware that there's a amount of air missing, so there's no point in trying to scare it.
And it's a droid.
Yeah.
You know, droids don't feel fear like people do.
Yeah, but Agatha's more conscious of the air before screaming and trying. Really, his normal tactic at this point.
That's a very fair point, yeah.
So yeah, Agatha's definitely trying to stay calm about the whole surroundings. But yeah,
So
at this point, I'm just going for I'm committing a force dice to increasing brawn stat just to try and cause a bit more damage.
Okay.
Because it looks big and we want to take it down. What am I rolling for difficulty?
Standard melee, so it's 2 purple and a black. It has a melee defense of 1.
3 failure and 2 dark side points. I've been trying to stay calm. Leave it at that.
Okay. See, this is what happens when you stay calm. You just let flail it ineffectually at it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's just ain't nothing. It's clearly taken you so much by surprise and wrong-footed you that you're like, whoa!
Yeah.
What gone on? Next play character.
I'm spending a manoeuvre getting up the tube. If someone would like to throw me my gun.
I'm standing right next to you with your gun, so you need to get out of the tube and take it from me because I can't give you it.
Okay, I get out the tube. Can I get the gun as part of that manoeuvre?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I finally push up, take the gun off JRN, and without really aiming, shoot it.
Okay, so the difficulty is 1 black for its defense, 2 purple and a red for firing a rifle in melee while engaged with... no, just 3 purple, actually, because you don't get the penalty of firing into melee, it's the melee that you're in. I think that's how it works. I think I'm going to be generous on that one because it's already tough enough.
Failure, but advantage.
Okay. Pass a boost to the next player to act.
Yeah, I distract it enough with a shot across its face, but I don't do any damage.
Okay.
So I've flared it, so I give someone an advantage.
Next player character.
Could I go next?
Oh yes, definitely.
Has he got the same kind of antenna as
He
the
does,
rest?
yes.
Okay, I'm going to aim specifically for the head, and I'm going to yell to other people that I think the antenna might be an important thing. I reckon that's where it's getting its controls from.
Well, it's a ranged light test.
Ranged light.
You are making a cold shot, so that's 2 setback die. Another setback die for its defense, and using a blaster pistol in melee is 2 difficulty.
You know what? I don't think I can make this roll regardless with that many dice. I just don't have enough to throw at it.
The other alternative is just not to cold shot it. You're not a marksman, which will get rid of 2 of those 3 setback die. And you can use your manoeuvre to aim for a boost die rather than to cold shot, so it would swap 2 of those setback for a boost. So if you're not planning on cold shotting it, you're just going to shoot at a melee.
Alright, let's just try and shoot at it.
Yep, so your difficulty pool would be 2 purple and a black.
Alright, that makes it slightly more reasonable. Alright, so I'm still yelling that you're going to have to aim for the head. I'm just going to aim for whatever I can hit. 1 advantage.
Okay, so just pass the boost on to the next person.
Yep, congratulations, next person's got a boost.
As you're just flailing wildly with your, again, blaster bolts. This is just a tangle of limbs and wildly flying blaster bolts, and it's making a horrible sound as it's attacking.
In my head, it's lurching towards us and we're shooting it where it's just finished lurching.
Yeah.
And it's getting surprised by the blaster fire and then moving away and then lurching again. It looks like it's being driven backwards and forwards, but it's still trying to, eat us.
Jiren.
Okay, so Jiren realizes that the majority of us are having problems because we're fighting in close combat. So he's going to disengage, move to short range,
Yep.
and then he is going to attract the attention of the thing and go, "Hey!"
To move into short range, you'd need to move back into the main
Yes.
cargo. Okay.
Yeah. "Hey, you! Come get me!" And I'm going to convince it to go for me rather than anything else.
Okay.
So hopefully it will come and attack me next time. I don't know what you want me to roll in. It might be a coercion or maybe a deception.
I'm thinking actually it's leadership. Because
Okay.
you're using your voice to make commands, essentially, but you're not threatening it, because that's coercion. What you're trying to do is draw it. So yeah, I think...
I'm trying to make it think that I am the bigger threat.
Yeah, leadership or a social skill, I'll let you choose which one. It's got to be one of them, except negotiation, probably. But yeah, leadership
and deception for me are the same, so let's go with those. So am I against its discipline, maybe?
You are against its discipline. Its discipline is single red.
Okay. And how many boosts did I get from previous?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay, let's do a roll. Okay, that is literally just free advantage. I have some dark side points in there, but I am trying to go detox.
Okay.
I touched Agatha and I don't want to be that angry.
Okay.
Can I suggest something for my advantage, or at least for something? Because there's quite clearly something else.
Yes.
So maybe it did work, but maybe it didn't work on the right thing.
Well, yes, but I'll let you have that for free.
Which means it isn't an advantage.
What I was going to say is I think 2 advantage gives you a defense of 1 until the end of your next turn.
That sounds like a good idea.
And then 1 advantage for a boost for the next player to go.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. And what happens, the droid does not acknowledge you.
Yeah.
The 3 animatronic corpses that have come in through the door on the top deck and leap down the hole, however, do.
Oh, hey,
and
guys.
And they land on you from the top.
I'm going to lie down now, I think.
Yeah, that's 2 triumphs. Oh! 1 success, 2 threat, 2 triumphs.
Tell me what happens.
I hope they broke their faces throwing themselves at your head.
I'll give them indigestion.
So, for the 2 threat it's rolled, they bear you to the ground,
Yep.
but they are also on the ground
Yep.
as well, basically, that the impact knocks them down. So their threat is that they knock down. I'm going to spend 1 of those triumphs to essentially knock you down as well.
Okay.
You're all just in this big, struggling pile. So yeah, you are knocked down as well, and you are getting credit.
I hope so.
Damage-wise, it's 7 damage, 75 on the crit. Overpowered, they get to make an immediate free attack
Okay.
against you again. Oh, criff me, that's another triumph.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm very sorry, Jiren, they are.
It's fine.
But an awful lot of threat. So that is 8 damage before soak.
Okay. He's still not dead. You've got a crit to do as well.
Yes, I think I am going to crit on you again.
Yep.
As they just shred you. And tear your right arm off.
Off?
What?
My word.
Ouch.
Your crit is maimed.
Yep.
What?
Oh no, my pointing arm. Thud.
Oh no, your coat.
No, your coat's fine. Just
Maybe it pulls the arm out of the coat.
It grabs by the wrist.
Yeah.
And just...
Oh
and
dear.
yeah, it just tears your right arm off in true Star Wars fashion.
Well, that was free triumph, so
Yeah.
blimey.
Yeah, so you're on the floor, buried beneath them with your arm off. Back to the top, NPCs. I'm not going to be horrible. The one
Thank you.
the droid that's in the midst of the group. Now, none of you have made yourselves any more threat than others, so...
Tried.
Apart from Jiren, but...
Look what that got
And
you.
the random dice roll to target my enemy means that it's going to go for Agatha.
Yay!
It's going to attempt to stick you with its auto-injectors. What this thing does, because I got 1 success and 2 advantage from that dice roll, what it does is it rears up and it jabs all the injector nodules of its right hand into you and just pumps you full of sedative and anesthetic, and you feel yourself starting to go woozy and take 9 strain damage minus your soak.
Ouch.
as you just start going woozy, and with its 2 advantage, it's going to put a setback die on the next players.
Okay, so as a manoeuvre, I'd like to disengage.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd like to take 2 strain so I can aim. Is it 2 strain to aim?
Yep.
And then I'm going to shoot the thing.
Okay. The one on Agatha or the group of minions that's tearing Duran's arm off?
The one on Agatha.
Okay. So your difficulty is a single red and a black, because it's at short range, but it's a melee.
So I've hit it.
Mm-hmm.
1 success, 5 advantage.
Okay.
I'd like to spend 3 of that on critting.
Okay.
Can I spend 2 of it in taking out its brain nodule-y thing?
I'll allow that. 2 advantage to blast its top bit off, 3 advantage to crit. So yeah, I'll allow that.
Do I roll crit?
You do roll crit. It is percentile.
8.
Ah, dear. Okay, you have slowed it down, which means that it can only act at the last initiative slot next time round.
Okay.
Obviously, it's already gone this time round, but yeah, for the next round of combat. You shoot it in the head, blowing the comlink chunk off its skull. Sparks fly from it. It once again kind of goes... and it starts to flail around. It's still active, but it isn't well. You know, it is clearly sustained significant damage from that, and its actions get very, very jerky and a lot less coordinated. Next player character.
Do you want to finish this thing with the antenna?
I'll give it a try. Can I use mechanics against it? Can I jump on it and try to rip out its diodes?
Yeah, because with your mental tools, you always have the right gear to do a mechanics test. I'll let you make a mechanics test, but it will essentially be replacing your combat test, so it will be 2 purple and a black.
Alright, but I've got 2 yellow, a green, and a force dice. For mechanics. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's 1 success, but 3 threat. I've got 2 light side points, which I'd like to use to cancel out 2 of the threat, though.
Okay, so 1 success and 1 threat.
1 success and 1 threat, ultimately.
You jump onto its back. You start trying to shut it down forcefully. You have had an effect on this. It's already jerking around wildly. It's still active, but you're shutting off parts of it as it's trying to flail around. The downside is, however, you do take an electrical shock causing you a strain for your threat. And I have factored in some of that as damage. Next player character.
Which is me. Duran has no combat ability, so there's no point in actually fighting back against these. So he is going to try and keep himself calm, because he's just lost an arm, and you should keep yourself calm in situations like that.
Yep.
Close his eyes and try and stop himself from losing too much blood.
Okay.
So using his force power. Well, I am going to use knowledge's power because, my word, we need it. And that is 2 dark side and 1 light side. I am not going to go to the dark side on this. I am going to try and heal some damage.
Okay.
So I heal 3 damage on that.
Through your concentration, you stop the blood flow.
For my maneuver, I am going to try and get out from the pile.
Okay. You'll still be on the floor, but basically just roll towards another hero or further into the ship, kind of under a bulwark or something?
Towards these guys.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
If I say towards Oberon, since he's the one that's most free and clear?
That's good.
Yeah. Agatha is the remaining PC.
Threat assessment in the minute is the big 6-legged one. It's still flailing.
It is still combat operational, yes.
So it's still considered a threat either way.
I would say so.
I would point out that it's so damaged that it's going to go last next combat round, so that gives us enough time to deal with it at the top of the combat round if we get rid of the other, or we could just kill it now.
Well, I'm trying to vibe between, do I either just try and jump on the little ones, or do I try and grab hold of the big one and try and throw it at the little ones?
I'm on the big one.
That's going to make things a little more difficult, but it's going to make it heavier, and it's going to be more likely to smash things. I mean, at this point, Agatha's not got a huge amount of thinking straight left, and is only probably got enough time for 1 more burst at this point, but I don't know whether...
It's up to you, Chief.
How massive is the...
I know what Rule of Cool says.
Yes.
It's silhouette 1, so it's the same size as a person. So it would be an athletics test to try and grab it and hurl it. I'd up the difficulty because it has got lasso on it, but I also that you've upped your brawn and you've still got a force dice left in your force in hand, so, you know...
Yeah, I'm going to use a light side point as well, please.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the big one and try and smash the little ones with it.
Okay, the difficulty for this is going to be 2 purple and 2 black. Lassa is providing a setback die on this one. I
know you're not noticing, but Lassa's face as you approach goes from, someone's come to help, to what on earth is going on, to I am going to kill you if I survive this.
I'm glad you've evaluated the situation to that extent, because Agatha isn't really thinking much of anything beyond, I want these things to all die. We have a triumph, 2 light side points, but 2 failure. I'm going to use the light side points to defeat the failures, so it's just a pure triumph.
Triumphs are also a success, so it's a success with a triumph.
Okay.
A flat success with a triumph. What does that look like? Tell me.
Agatha is digging into what is reserved, and this giant of a man who's rather tattered in appearance at this point because he's lost a lot of environment suit, is nevertheless picking up the big thing, and he's channeling a lot of rage into throwing it at the rest of them just to get rid of everything very quickly. He is somewhat unsteady because he's just been pumped through a lot of sedatives. He's not so much wounded at this point, but there's a lot of strain going through him right now because he's clinging to conscious. If we were planning anything at this point, he'd probably be trying to alter Pyjack's name because it might be an idea to bring in some backup at this point. But other than that, he is straining and he is really at the edge of his limits. And he's trying to bring down everything that's against him with it at the same time.
Okay. So...
And then something goes crunch and it hopefully isn't Lassa. Okay. But he can't control that at this point.
May I pitch you this?
Feel free.
The damage that you will do to this thing from the throwing and the impact will destroy it, or at least turn it off, damage it enough that it's no longer functional. Especially because as Lassa lands, her Hydra Spanner kind of just punches through. Do you want to spend your triumph to, in the process of that, crush one of the minions, the techno-zombie that was up until recently dismembering Jiren?
I do want to smash it, but I also don't want anybody else to get hurt at the minute, so is Lassa...
Because you succeeded with no threat,
yeah.
Lassa will not take any damage from this, as Lassa jumps off in midair and kind of hits the ground and rolls, but leaves whatever tool Lassa was using to try and jimmy it stuck in. Because it is a triumph and it's cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna smash one of the things.
Yeah, as the body of this thing smashes and rolls and crushes one of the skittering zombargs. The two remaining zombargs, that's what I'm calling them. Don't judge me. They have a sudden threat reassessment.
Yes, Agatha kind of anticipated that.
And they charge at you, Agatha, claws flailing, and attempt to bring you down. And succeed with a single success. So that is 7 damage before soak. So back to the top, it's NPCs, it's them because they're the only NPC group remaining, and they're going to attempt to continue on their onslaught against you, I'm afraid, Ags.
Okay.
They get, at the end of that, 1 success and 1 threat. So that is again 7 damage before soak. But the threat, I'm going to give a boost die to the next PC group to act against them. And that is to the top of the PCs. Which player character wishes to go first? As a reminder for where everyone is, Jiren is on the floor at Oberon's feet. He's no longer hemorrhaging blood from the stump where his right arm used to be, but he's clearly not in a good way, and also his suit will need gaffering. Oberon is standing over him with his rifle in hand. Lassa is on the floor in between the smashed body of the harvester droid and Agatha is still in the doorway of what was the engine room with 2 of these zomborgs on him. So, PC?
Agatha is going to charge forward to put himself between the group and the 2 zomboids, and he's going to start smacking them.
Okay.
Difficulty?
2 purple and a black.
2 success, 1 threat, and 2 dark side points.
Do you wish to use those dark side points?
I don't know.
Either way, it's going to cost you strain. So I don't know how much strain you've got left. If you
2 left. Yeah, so if you use both of these, then he's out. So he's clinging to hold. I think he's probably not going to use them in that case.
Okay. So that's 2 success and 1 threat?
Yeah.
Okay, they're still up. You know, you're flailing around, landing a blow or 2. I kind of want to use that 1 threat for a strain, but I know that you're about to pass out from it. Yeah, there's only 2 of them. Take a strain.
Okay.
You're on your last legs as the adrenaline is pumping the anaesthetic around your body even faster. Next PC.
I'd like to shoot it, please.
Okay, it is a single red because you're firing at short range into melee, and a setback die because they have a ranged defense.
I'll spend a maneuver to aim.
Yep.
So that's 2 success and 3 advantage. I'd like to spend the advantage on critting.
Okay. Well, with that crit and with your base damage, that is enough to take both of these out. So what does that look like?
I line up the shot, and whilst Agatha's dancing around, just about to take the shot, all 3 heads have lined up. Nope. All 3 heads still have lined up. Nope. 2 heads have lined up. Shoot. And the bolts go straight through both their heads.
Okay. Yep, and with the sparking crackles as their various droid brainy comlink bits shot out from your bolt, they collapse to the ground at Agatha's feet.
Just goes over Agatha's head.
Lasser's going to rush to Jiren.
Lasser, I've lost my watch.
She pauses in amongst pulling out her ragtag little medicinal emergency set and just stares at you in complete lack of understanding, shock, and a little bit of awe.
He is quite clearly just not with it at all.
And her whole attitude changes. It's all right, my love. What we're going to do, right, we're going to make sure this bleeding stopped. It looks like it's not too bad. And
I'm trying to hold myself together at the moment.
Well, you've done all very well, apart from one part, really, haven't you? All right, and I'm going to make a medicine test, if that's all right.
To heal wounds or to remove the crit? He'll still have lost his arm, but obviously,
For them, it's back.
The main difference is, much like with Agatha, though the crits are no longer having an effect now the encounter's ended, because they're carrying crits, every time they get critted again, it increases the number rolled.
He fumbles in his pocket and pulls out like a medical injector. Try that.
All right.
It's Nullcane. It allows you to ignore critical. So you need to make, because that was a hard critical, it's free purple against your medicine.
All right. We're going to use this, and you might feel a bit better. I'm going to see what I can do here. And she's quite chuffed, because that's probably the best she's ever done at medicine. That's 4 successes.
Wow. Right. So, for one of those successes, that crit has healed. You still haven't got an arm, but you're no longer suffering the effects of the crit. The remaining 3 successes heals you 3 wounds.
We're going to get you back to the ship, and Prinkle's going to get you a lovely cup of tea. You know how you like his cup of teas, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, and look at your jacket. I bet that'll scrub up nice. It's all going to be all right. You did really well, Jiren. You all right?
All of my cufflinks are now twice as valuable.
You're making it very hard to be sympathetic here, boy.
I don't know what's going on.
And for everyone else now, you're having a chance to catch your breath. If you make me either a discipline or a cool test of your choice with no difficulty, for every success you heal a strain.
2 successes for Agatha.
1 success for me, but that's enough.
Could somebody grab his arm?
Okay, I grab his arm.
The one on the floor.
No. Oh.
And as you regroup and catch your breaths, over the intercom comes...
Disappointing.
And that's where we're leaving it for this week.
Oh, Mr. Flesh, we're going to have words.
And before we go, this episode's patron is Malcolm and Liz Hazel, who are 2 of our biggest fans and biggest supporters. They've provided us with prizes in the past for giveaways. In fact, our more recent giveaway, they've provided for that. They've helped us out financially with supporting the show. They're just like the biggest fans we could ask for.
Wonderful.
They're wonderful people. And their entire gaming group, the Smoking Banther Posse, are just a wonderful, wonderful group of people. I don't think we can thank you enough, really, Malcolm and Liz, but we'll try. So thank you very, very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you.
And for the rest of you, we will see you next time.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.